Good evening, everyone. We want to call to order our organizational meeting of the Southeast Lyndhurst Board of Education today being Tuesday, January 11th, 2022. We need a roll call, Mr. Hill?
Yes.
May we get a roll call, Mr. Hill?
Ms. Falkenberg?
Here.
Mrs. Jones?
Here.
Ms. King?
Here.
Ms. Lee?
Here.
Mrs. Ryan?
Mrs. Ryan is on an approved absence. I'll just say it. She's at senior night for her daughter. She was very concerned about not being present today, and Superintendent Reed and I both said the same thing. As board members, we are no good if we are not there for our own children. So we definitely told Stephanie to go ahead and experience her daughter's senior night, and we will see her when she arrives. So she is not here tonight. We can go right into the preliminary items. I didn't say the time. It is 5:34, Mr. Reed. And every year, to start the new calendar year, the board has an annual organizational meeting. We call this meeting to establish our calendar dates for the year and to establish our positions, vice president and president, and to swear in and bring aboard any new board members that have won the election and are now in office, which brings us to the new face that we have at the end of the table, Ashley King. Everybody online, wave at Ashley. So we do have Ms. King here with us tonight. And
Yeah, we do. I'm sorry.
if you all would stand for us for the Pledge of Allegiance, the flag is in the back corner. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for joining us. Dr. Reed will go right into item 2.1, oath of office for elected members. Ms. King, if you want to go first, I don't mind.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Ohio, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge your duties as a member of the Board of Education of the Southeast Lyndhurst City School District, Cuyahoga County, Ohio, to the best of your ability and in accordance with the laws now in effect and hereafter to be enacted during your continuance in said office and until your successor is elected and qualified?
I do.
Congratulations, Ms. King.
Congratulations.
Then Ms. Falkenberg, you want to go first?
Oh, now we voted for you.
I said
Without what?
I'm like, you're with me. You're not with me. Stephanie's with me. I'm wrong.
I'm a little confused.
If you want to, sure.
I know, was elected.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Ohio, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge your duties as a member of the Board of Education of the Southeast Lyndhurst City School District, Cuyahoga County, Ohio, to the best of your ability, and in accordance with laws now in effect and hereafter to be enacted during your continuance in said office and until your successor is elected and qualified?
Congratulations, Catherine. And this is term number 2 for you, correct?
Thank you.
Then I guess I'll go next. So, Josh, I didn't hand you, okay?
That's completely all right. As long as I don't, it's one last time I gotta go through that spiel.
And then we've got Judge J.J. Costello here from Cleveland Heights Municipal Court.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be here. Raise your right hand for me. Do you solemnly affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Ohio, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge your duties as a member of the Board of Education of the South Lyndhurst City School District, Cuyahoga County, Ohio, to the best of your ability, in accordance with the laws now in effect and hereinafter to be enacted during your continuance in said office until your successor is elected and qualified?
I do.
Congratulations.
I think we'll give us a good hand today. Something. We use the good pen.
Thank you very much. So we'll go right into item 3, organization of the board for 2022. 3.1 nominations for board president. So as the presiding board president, I'll call for nominations for president tonight.
I would like to nominate Cassandra Jones.
I second.
Aaron Lee nominates.
Oh, second. Oh, I didn't even see that.
Hearing no other nominations, we ask for a motion to close nominations.
So moved.
Ms. Lee and Ms. Falkenberg. Any questions or comments? May we get a roll call, Mr. Hill?
Ms. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Falkenberg?
Aye.
Mrs. Jones?
Aye.
Ms. King?
Aye. Thank you very much. Item 3.2, election of the president. Mr. Hill, may we get a vote taken for each nominee? There is only one, so we can reply yes or no.
Yes. Ms. Falkenberg?
Yes.
Mrs. Jones?
Yes.
Ms. King?
Yes.
Ms. Lee?
Yes.
We will render the vote of office for board president.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Ohio, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge your duties as President of the Board of Education of the South Lyndhurst City School District, Cuyahoga County, Ohio, to the best of your ability and in accordance with the law now in effect and hereafter to be enacted during your continuance in said office and until your successor is elected and qualified?
I do. No, I do thank you all. I will say I don't take it lightly. The entrusting that has been given to me these years to be able to be president of the school board. So I do thank my colleagues. I was telling Ashley last night, this isn't something I can do by myself. I'm one of 5 votes. I can't do anything by myself. So I do appreciate the trust and the ability to lead this board through this next duration. And with that being said, this is year number 13. Wow. Like,
And Kate was trying to get you to stay how many more?
someone has said to me, like, this is year number 13, that's huge. And I'm just like, it's little old me. Like, I'm just here. So I thank my community. I mean, it doesn't take me to do this. It takes the community to allow me to continue to come back. So I thank each of you that have supported me these years, and even those that don't support me. I mean, I haven't seen that many of them, but I do appreciate it, and I thank you all greatly, the administration, the community, and the families that we serve.
On behalf of our administration, we look forward to working with this board and under your leadership and been able to accomplish quite a bit, so we appreciate you taking on the extra role.
Perfect. Now we'll go into nominations for board vice president. I call for nominations for vice president. Any nominations? I nominate Aaron Lee for vice president. Are there any other nominations?
Oh,
Hearing none, may we get a
Motion,
motion, Mr. Hill,
close nominations.
to close nominations?
so moved.
Ms. Falkenberg?
Second.
Can I second? Ms. Lee?
Just closing nominations.
Yes, sir.
Not in fact on.
Okay.
All right, may we get a roll call?
Ms. Falkenberg,
Aye.
Ms. Lee,
Aye.
Mrs. Jones,
Aye.
Ms. King.
Aye.
No election.
All right. Mr. Hill, may we get a vote taken for nominee Lee?
Ms. Falkenberg,
Aye.
Mrs. Jones,
Aye.
Ms. King,
Aye.
Ms. Lee.
Aye.
May we give the oath of office for vice president Lee?
I don't normally dress like this to meet your job. I'm sorry.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly affirm that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Ohio, and that you will faithfully and impartially discharge your duties as Vice President of the Board of Education of South Lyndhurst City School District, Cuyahoga County, Ohio, to the best of your ability and in accordance with the laws now in effect and hereafter to be enacted during the continuance in said office until your successor is elected and qualified?
I do. Sorry, I'm used to a good ink pen being there. Another day. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think it's what I got when I worked at Cleveland Heights.
We go right into 4.1, establish the 2022 board meeting schedule. The South Lyndhurst Board of Education approves the proposed 2022 regular and special board meetings and the 2023 organizational meeting and the 2023 January regular meeting as attached on Appendix A of our notes. I think we looked at those dates earlier. We didn't have any conflicts.
That's correct.
We finally got all our holidays covered. And, yes,
And looked at November, which is usually OSBA.
Yes.
And I think, Gina, we moved to like the last Tuesday of the month.
Yes.
Just to give us more time to close out the year, so.
You know what month I forgot to look at, guys? August.
I
You looked at August
believe
early?
we
Okay,
took care of
I
the
didn't-
August,
I didn't-
because there's always a conflict with the start date.
Yeah, and I didn't think about that till today.
perfect.
Okay.
Only took us a few years to get it right, but
Right.
we did.
So may we get a motion to approve item 4.1, the 2022 board meeting schedule?
So moved.
Second. Mr. Lee, Mrs. Falkenberg. Any questions or comments? Now, I did take some time, I kind of walked Ms. King through how we developed those dates, and as we progress through the year, sometimes there are instances where we have to rearrange some of those dates. I know November is probably gonna be a question mark because that election Monday is the second week, and OSBA runs into Veterans Day, and it's kind of
A
weird.
little bit different this year.
So
Okay.
we'll look for OSBA to drop those conference dates.
Yeah.
And then, so we kind of talked through that and gave her the rundown of those. So, did you have any questions? Were you able to look at those?
Yes, I was able to look at them, no questions.
Perfect.
I have a question. Do we have calendar committee this year? Or do we?
I think we've,
It's coming up.
Are we this year?
Mr. Cable Cal, we're good for one more year.
So
Right.
next year?
22, 23,
Okay.
yep.
I just asked him that question today too.
May we get a roll call, Mr. Hill?
Ms. Lee,
Yes. Aye.
Ms. Falkenberg,
Aye.
Mrs. Jones,
Aye.
Mrs. King.
Aye.
And to item 5, general business, 5.1 service fund. accordance with ORC 331315, South Eagle Lyndhurst Board of Education does hereby establish a service fund. Such funds to be set aside in an account within the general fund. And this is hereby appropriated for the purpose of said fund, the sum of up to $20,000, which amount shall be incorporated into the appropriations of the South Eagle Lyndhurst School District for each fiscal year.
This is all lumped together with the approved at the end.
Okay. Item 5.2, Treasurer's Annual Resolution. That is a routine item that we put on at the beginning of the year, giving the treasurer the authority to handle treasurer functions, so his office can function. Item 5.3, authorization for purchasing and contract signing. That is a function that comes on the agenda every year as well. It authorizes the superintendent to be able to perform her duties that allow purchases, contracts being signed for the year in accordance with the board-approved appropriations on behalf of the South Eagle Lyndhurst Board of Education. Item 5.4, authorization for the superintendent to hire staff in between board meetings. This is another authorization that is needed to allow the general business to take place. Those fall in line with the day-to-day operations of the superintendent and her ability to maintain and accept resignations or new hires for staff. They are always brought to us at the very next board meeting, unless there is a circumstance where it could not be done, but this gives that authorization to do that.
Here's your designation. Go for that.
5.5 is the authorization to accept resignations. The first one was to hire staff. The second one is for resignations in the same nature of business as the previous. Item 5.6, stipends. South Eagle Lyndhurst Board of Education authorizes treasurer on behalf of the board to pay curriculum writing stipends, professional development stipends, and other similar stipends to staff members based upon their attendance and submission of appropriate documentation to the treasurer's office. 5.7 is the authorization for overnight field trips related to OHSAA contests and tournaments. This allows the South Eagle Lyndhurst Board of Education authorizing superintendent in her office to approve and permit overnight field trips related to the Ohio High School Athletic Association sponsored events. This is also something that is routine and is enacted at the beginning of the year as well. Item 5.8, OSB membership agreement. This board authorizes membership in and payment to the Ohio School Boards Association for the 2022 membership year. This is the organization that we utilize for a variety of things to run the district as far as training and collaboration with other entities as well. 5.9, special education placements. This is the authorization that allows the superintendent and the treasurer to enter into contracts for special education placement for individual student placements. 5.10 is the approval of the above general business items as they have been presented. May we get a motion to approve the South Eagle Lyndhurst Board of Education general business agenda items 5.1 through 5.9?
So moved. Second.
Got Ms. King and Ms. Falkenberg. Any questions or comments?
I would add that, so there was a few, I think I had a few authorizations. I clapped them all into the annual resolution for that 5.2.
Okay.
As well as added a few things in there based on the rigorous audit we are going through. The one thing I'd like to point out is the placement of myself as the board designee for public records. We had never had that previously approved, and it ended up coming up in the audit, so.
Yes, when
I'm
they
sorry, I missed
called
that.
to ask the questions about the audit, he did mention that. He was not sure if it was a new thing, but he asked for the verbal authorization, and I told him that that was routine, so we did take that.
Okay. Yeah, it's like, I repackaged it all and put it back in. So
Okay,
it's
Thank you.
annual
So,
approval.
So number 9, Catherine, where it says designate the treasurer as the board designee for public records and to attend the required meetings. He had been doing that in functions, but I don't think it was ever fully memorialized in written form. You can go ahead, Ms. Hill, were you finished? I'm sorry.
That was it. Yeah, I think there was 2 authorizations that I collapsed into that and then listed out a few extra things. Basically things that I do anyways, but this memorializes it annually to basically allow me to do these things anyways.
Okay. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, may we get a roll call, Mr. Hill?
Ms. King?
Aye.
Ms. Falkenberg?
Aye.
Mrs. Jones?
Aye.
Ms. Lee?
Aye.
Item 6, liaison appointments. 6.1 is the OSBA Legislative Liaison and Ohio OSBA Student Achievement Liaison appointments. The South Euclid Learners Board of Education appoints Catherine Falkenberg as the board's OSBA Legislative Liaison and Ashley King as the board's Student Achievement Liaison. May we get a motion to approve item 6.1?
So moved.
Second. Ms. Lee, Ms. Falconer. Any questions or comments?
I just want to say thank you, especially Catherine, because you didn't have to, you know, be generous to slot out to, to the legislative because.
Wait until you hear my
So I just wanted to say thank you very, very much, Catherine.
So that was good that you brought that up, Erin. When you made the comment, shouldn't we give Ashley the student achievement one? Because you thought it would really kind of bring her closer to the student achievement piece instead of diving right into Ohio's legislation.
Yes.
We'll spare you.
I'm going to do that to you, especially right now.
So, and we thank Mr. Bloomberg for his past contributions. 'Cause he was always,
He may come back sporadically with a report, just so you all know.
yes. And we'll forward those emails to Catherine if you can pass them on to Ashley. So there is a portal. I think I got it as well, so I'll kind of follow up back through there.
Okay. I
As
spoke with the liaison person and I
Forward.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's good. And those come directly to your box, and that link for the OSBA website as well will give you another drop down to some of that legal stuff and student achievement stuff. Hearing no further questions or comments, may we get a roll call, Mr. Hill?
Ms. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Falkenberg?
Aye.
Mrs. Jones?
Aye.
Ms. King?
Aye.
Item 7, legal counsel. 7.1, board legal counsel. South Euclid Learners Board of Education hereby authorizes the board superintendent or treasurer to employ any legal firm necessary during the course of the year. And 7.2, legal counsel for board revision hearings. South Euclid Learners Board of Education hereby authorizes the treasurer and/or Brenza McIntyre and C. LLP to act as their agent for Board of Education related to filing and signing real estate tax complaints. Item 7.3 is approval of the legal counsel items as presented. May we get a motion to approve items 7.1 through 7.2?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Falkenberg, Ms. King. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, may we get a roll call?
Ms. Falkenberg?
Aye.
Ms. King?
Aye.
Mrs. Jones?
Aye.
Ms. Lee?
Aye.
8.1, Section 8, minimum wage and mileage rate. 8.1 is the authorization to pay minimum wage. Board of Education hereby authorizes the treasurer to pay the state of Ohio minimum wage to those individuals that are paid under the minimum wage provision. May we get a motion to approve?
I actually adjusted this, we can take it all in one vote if we want.
Okay.
That one,
Oh, the
it wasn't
Okay.
adjusted on the other one.
Sorry, thank you, Josh.
You go for it.
Yeah.
And 8.2, the authorization to pay the standard mileage rate. May we get a motion to approve both of those?
So moved. Second.
Ms. Lee, Ms. Falkenberg. Any questions or comments?
This is another one I added, the authorization to pay the standard mileage rate. We'd always done the minimum wage here, but never had, when it updated annually, never had it in here giving us the authority to pay it. We just always went by federal law. It was a recommendation for the audit as well, so.
All right, thank you for that. May we get a roll call?
Ms. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Falkenberg?
Aye.
Mrs. Jones?
Aye.
Ms. King?
Aye.
Section 9, substitute rates. 9.1, the authorization to pay substitute rates. Board authorizes the treasurer to pay the following substitute rates. And those are those the going rates or the minimum rates?
So the substitute rates, what we try to do is, first of all, stay competitive with, our neighboring school districts. And at the same time, we gotta make sure that the rate we pay as a substitute is not higher than the entry rate of a new employee. So that kind of balances what we're doing here. Obviously, there's certain position as well that may pay a little bit higher based on the skill set of the job requirement. So those are some of the criteria we use.
I appreciate it.
May we get a motion to approve item 9.1?
So moved. Second.
Sorry, I'll let you do the question and comments first. I should have not asked the question. Sorry.
Okay.
Any further questions or comments?
Yeah, I was wondering, under guest teacher, or so, 110 per day, that is for the first 30 days, or, and then it jumps to 140?
No, that's the sub rate. So when we look at, especially the shortage of subs that we've had, it's a two-tier. There's somebody who's willing to commit to SEL district for 4 to 5 days a week. We're going to pay more than somebody who sporadically, might sub just a couple times a week or something like that. So that's why we tiered it to be able to attract and really get those people to commit to us. We pay them a little bit more.
Okay, thank you.
Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, may we get a roll call, Mr. Hill?
Ms. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Falkenberg?
Aye.
Mrs. Jones?
Aye.
Ms. King?
Aye.
Well, good evening, everybody. This is actually talk about your 13th year. This is my 13th year as a school superintendent, but I'm proud to say this is my 10th year as a superintendent of this fine school district, which I really enjoy being in. I think one of the reasons being is that even though we've had a number of different board members, I think there's 2 left from the ones that have hired me. And that what I'm proud to say is that it's been such a really good working relationship with the Board of Education. I think we've managed to do that through a hard work together, a shared vision of putting our students first, and really just a commitment to the communities of Southeast Linders. But I don't think a lot of people realize how much work goes behind being a board member. You'll sit here this evening and maybe see us here for an hour or two, but there's a lot of reading that takes place. There's a lot of different preparation, contracts to be read, a lot of things that are sent to the Board of Education. So January is dedicated to Board Recognition Month, and we're happy to give each one of you a certificate and the token of our appreciation as well. But I'd like to read for a few minutes here. Boards of Education are a mature and tested institution in Ohio. School board members make policy, they approve contracts, they approve curriculum, adopt budgets, and select a superintendent and a treasurer to the district. They do all these tasks with the emphasis on what's best for the children they serve. And I can tell you that the board members I work with in Southeast Linders, that's exactly what they do. I cannot say that's universal around the state of Ohio, but that has been my experience. Being an effective school board member is no easy task, particularly in today's climate of change, challenge, and the third C, COVID. School board members need to be knowledgeable about many complex education and social issues and carry out initiatives and directives from both federal and state governments. To face these demands of governing our public schools, they give countless hours of personal time to through dedicated, responsible endeavors. School board members serve the public interest in public education and serve the children and the needs of our children. They ensure that decisions about public schools are made as close to the needs of our communities as possible. Our school board members, our SEL school board members, do make a difference in our community for every child, every day. Please join me in thanking our school board members for their time and dedication to the children and the communities of South Euclid and Lyndhurst.
Thank you, Dr. Reed.
Thank you for joining us.
You guys make it easy. You do. Just like you say, we make it easy, you all make it easy, because I know some places where it's not easy either way. So I appreciate the acknowledgement.
I don't think you all understand how much we appreciate you all. Like, it's not even just us, you make it worthwhile for us as well, so just saying, no, thank you.
Adjournment of the organizational meeting. It is now 6:04 p.m. May we get a motion to adjourn?
So move.
And roll call. All in favor?
Aye.
Can I
Don't leave us yet, we're coming back.
go right back here? I'm going to open up another agenda here. Let's make sure I have this.
Actually, every meeting does not have two agendas, I promise you.
It's just this one.
Just this one.
And it had me confused because I thought this portion of our meeting was next week.
Okay, there you go. I can pull it up.
All right, we can call to order the January 11, 2022 regular meeting of the South Euclid Lyndhurst Board of Education. It is now 6:05. We do not need a pledge of allegiance. We can carry over from prior. And our roll call stands. Item 2, communication. These are our section 2.1 liaison reports. We're going to forego our liaison reports today. We are still finalizing the kinks of getting those transferred and getting the new member logged in there. So they will have reports for us next week,
Next week or next month?
whenever you get them finalized. If we got to pull out the briefcase, we will, but probably next month. We'll go right into 2.2, superintendent's report.
I'm actually going to forego my report. The only thing I want to mention is actually to thank our school community and the board support. We are on remote learning instruction this week, and a message will be sent out to staff and parents tomorrow with regards to what next week will look like. So I know a few phone calls. I don't want to say it here this evening, because I usually have a process of notifying certain people first and then allowing the public and that. So we know that people are waiting to see what's happening, and tomorrow a message will go out to all our staff and family.
Thank you, Dr. Reed. Mr. Hill, do we have any public comment for item 2.3?
No, none.
None? Go right into item 3 minutes. 3.1. Minutes of the regular meeting from December 21st, 2021 will be approved as reported or corrected. Furthermore, the reading of these minutes will be waived. May we get a motion to approve item 3.1?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Faulkner and Ms. Am I correct when I say that she can sustain because she was not present at that board meeting?
Yeah, she can stay.
What?
Ashley will abstain from the
Oh,
vote because she
oh.
wasn't
Any questions or comments? Hearing none, may we get a roll call, Mr. Hill?
Ms. Falkenberg,
Aye.
Ms. Lee,
Aye.
Mrs. Jones,
Aye.
Mrs. King.
Abstain.
Go right into the treasurer's report.
Before I get into my items, the one piece of information I do have is I sent out the service proposal for Connect to transition our finance ITC to join the rest of our services. It was a tedious task, but when you're looking through this, the big thing I want to mention is to transition away from our current provider. They have a 1-year requirement so we will be paying them for the following year as well. But in talking to Connect and them wanting us to transition and have their services, they are waiving their fee for the first year. So
Oh, I
it
love the
offsets.
caveats.
Yeah.
As I just said, I hate the caveats. I love the caveats.
It offsets, so there will be some savings collapsing all back in together, as well as it's a wash on that fee for that 1 year.
Okay.
And then item 4.1, financial reports for December month-end close 2021. Item 4.2, the bank reconciliation for month-end December 2021. Item 4.3 is the investment earnings for month-end close December 2021. Item 4.4, we have a few donations for approval. Item 4.5 is the annual tax budget for fiscal year 2023 for approval. And then item 4.6 is asking for approval for items 4.1 through 4.5.
May we get a motion to approve those items 4.1 through 4.5?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments?
All floor supplies. I said, I don't know who did that request, but thank you. Like, thank you, that was nice.
Yes, we're actually, Mr. Murphy, we have different types of floor covering, right, that was donated?
Correct, there's a lot of vinyl tile, vinyl flooring, carpeting, walk-off mats. They pretty much ordered us up with a lot of different things. So
That
we're
was
gonna do
nice. That was nice.
So we're gonna go over in that store, Murphy's store over there, and see what we want to move where.
Is it all over your building?
Yes.
And you're welcome. Hearing no further questions or comments, may we get a roll call, Mr. Hill?
Ms. King,
Aye.
Ms. Lee,
Aye.
Ms. Falkenberg,
Aye.
Mrs. Jones.
Aye. Items 5, superintendent items.
Yes, good evening, everybody. Under 6.1, recommend to the Board of Education to approve the following personnel items for certified staff. We do have another teacher that will be retiring at the end of this year, Ms. Lozelle. And then we have a couple paid leave of absence and an unpaid leave of absence under certified. Yes, we have quite a crew retiring this year, and we'll have to figure out something at the end of the year.
Wow.
May we get a motion to approve item 5.1?
So moved.
Second.
Second. Can you second? I second.
Any questions or comments? Well, congratulations to, especially Mr. Roselle. He's been around since my kids were in the building. So I don't like to see them go, but in the same breath, I'm excited that they're walking away still whole and able to enjoy retirement. So congratulations on that gratification for retirement. Any further comments? Hearing none, may we get a roll call, Mr. Hill?
Ms. Falkenberg,
Aye.
Mrs. Jones,
Aye.
Ms. King,
Aye.
Ms. Lee.
Aye.
Under, let's see, 6.1, I should say classified staff, 6.1, recommend to the Board of Education to approve the following personnel items for our classified staff. You will see some appointments. We did have, it's amazing what a couple, not resignations, retirements will do in a domino effect. So if you go into our buildings, you're going to see a lot of new faces with our, I shouldn't say new faces, how about old faces in new places with our custodial staff who does a great job. So there's some new appointments there. We do have a retirement for Eileen Dewey, and then we have a few resignations there. And we also, with our classified staff, do memorialize changes in assignments. So these are current employees that actually are in new assignments, paid leave of absence and unpaid leave of absence.
May we get a motion to approve item 6.1?
Second.
Ms. Lee, Ms. Falkenberg. Any questions or comments?
This is this Eileen that used to be Memorial. as well? You?
She's been here a long time.
She's been at Greenview a long time. I don't know if she was over it.
Okay.
It might have been before.
Before Greenview, like years ago, at the beginning, when I started, so yeah, years ago. Yeah.
No
I
comment.
hadn't seen her in a long time, but I didn't.
Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, may we get a roll call, Mr. Hill?
Ms. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Falkenberg?
Aye.
Mrs. Jones?
Aye.
Ms. King?
Aye.
Okay, under 7.1, before I move into this section, just want to clarify, you know, we have a certified staff that uses your, you know, your teachers, your administration, isn't certified, your classified staff are your non-certified employees. So one might ask, what about an exempt personnel? Those that is a growing body, because for those, recently, there were several positions that came out of the union, and they were, could not fit either category, so they're exempt. There are positions that do not belong to a union, but at the same time, may not necessarily hold a certification, such as a principal's license or a special, so they're called exempt. So what we are doing this evening under 7.1 is there was a new exempt position that was created. You know, as we, it is actually a network manager. So again, that is a support staff, it's an exempt. It's outside of, like I said, the unions, as well as not really administrative. So when we went to one-on-one Chromebooks, and several years back we installed, let's see, what do we call whiteboard in every classroom. And so when you put more stuff and more technology into a district, you also have to make sure that you have the staff to be able to support it, because we're only as good as those things are functioning. And so we're really grown. And so the 7.1 is the position. It is a new position called network manager. 7.2, we posted that position, and you're going to see that Mr. Pete Palazzo interviewed for it and was named as now our network manager. So he'll still be working for us, but in a different role. Also there, you're going to see the resignation of Ryan Dugan, who's been with us for 6 years. We're going to miss him. Don't fret, ArcFit Friday, things that he puts out to our staff is going to still exist. We'll figure out how. He's moving on to another job that really we're happy for, another position, not another district, or anything like something completely different, and we wish Mr. Dugan well. And so, again, I just wanted to explain that that is a new category. Other categories you're going to see in here is actually our administrative assistants fall into exempt, and then the staff that is in the treasurer's office are not necessarily administrative assistants, but they function in an exempt position. So again, you're going to see a category that looks a little new here, and I wanted to just give an explanation behind it. So, and then 7.3 is approving the exempt personnel, items 7.1 and 7.2.
May we get a motion to approve 7.1 and 7.2?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments?
Yeah, I just wondered, do we have someone then to take over Pete's position?
So no, we don't yet. We definitely, we'll be looking to fill that as well. Again, we're growing with our technology. We don't want to shortchange it. So he's going to be in a much bigger leadership role, Pete. And if Pete's been with us for years, and we're really looking forward to having him in that expanded role. But we will be, posting and looking for that replacement.
Well, I'll say Mr. Dugan will be missed. If you watch this, Mr. Dugan, you literally, ArcFit Fridays were phenomenal, making sure that Cassandra and I got into the ArcFit, into the gym to make sure we could do our thing. Like he sends workouts. I don't know if I'm a GOTA or a WOTA. I guess I'm a WOTA and my kids are GOTA. So my sons really flipped out yesterday when he sent the email to them. So, but thank you, Mr. Dugan. We appreciate you.
He had quite a few roles. I mean, he did some leadership roles with our ARC lead, worked with our staff and our students, and really endeared himself not just to the position for the people. So yeah, he won't be a stranger. We'll invite him back, but we wish him well, and in his new position.
We wish him well as well. I know the kids are gonna miss him. I think he tweeted his goodbyes to the kids, and he ended it with, "You know where to find me." So they might find him and bring him back. So he might want to be careful showing his steps on where he is, because some of those kids might come and find him. But it has been a great course with Dugan. He's carried us through some good achievements and some pretty big shoes to fill. But we're ready for the task.
Yes, we are.
Hearing none other, may we get a roll call, Mr. Hill?
Ms. King?
Aye.
Ms. Falkenberg?
Aye.
Mrs. Jones?
Aye.
Ms. Lee?
Aye.
Under 8.0, supplemental contracts, so we have 8.1. We are recommending the approval of the following supplemental contracts. You could see, for thinking about musical already, springtime stuff. So we look to hire these folks to help us try to have a spring musical.
May we get a motion to approve item 8.1?
So moved.
Second.
Excuse me.
Any questions or comments? Hearing none, may we get a roll call, Mr. Hill?
Ms. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. King?
Aye.
Ms. Falkenberg?
Aye.
Mrs. Jones?
Aye.
Under 9.0, this is business. 9.1 is a separate item from the other two. Looking to make a recommendation for the settlement agreement with OC 110. The settlement agreement is in regards to settling agreements between, with OC 110. Bottom line is this settlement, what it means is both sides are happy. So recommending the board to approve that under 9.1.
May we get a motion to approve item 9.1?
So moved.
Second. Ms. Lee and Ms. Falkenberg. Can I ask a question, Josh? Should Ms. King abstain from that as well because she wasn't here with the conversations, or just acknowledging that she can still? Okay. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, may we get a roll call, Mr. Hill?
Ms. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Falkenberg?
Aye.
Mrs. Jones?
Aye.
Ms. King?
Aye.
I had to remember where I was, sorry.
That's right. Under 9.2, recommend to Board of Education to approve the resolution authorizing and directing the transfer of educational equipment purchased with state auxiliary service funds to Hawken. Just a short explanation for that. We are the fiscal agent for our non-publics, and there is a mechanisms, or I should say protocols, that you have to follow when you actually inventory out old equipment and things like that. So we're acknowledging that here. It gives the authorization to do that. And then 9.3, this is kind of exciting. If you can't read the fine print, maybe we won't be sweating at graduation. So we are looking to bring air conditioning into Welser Gym for a number of different reasons. So we're excited with that contract. And then 9.4 is approving items 9.2 and 9.3 under business.
May we get a motion to approve items 9.2 and 9.3?
So moved.
Second.
Ms. Lee, Ms. Falkenberg. Any questions or comments? Don't scream all at once.
Make it work, Mike. Make it work. Mike, make it work. I had a video and I saw my hair walk in, my hair was down like this. We went to sit down, I had pulled it back like this.
Yeah.
We went to give our speech, I pulled it back in a ponytail. At the end of the graduation, I walked out with my hair standing up on top of my head. So
yes.
make it work. And Dom looked
Thank you.
hot. You know.
We thank you. We have all walked in with hair and walked out with a helmet. It's been 13 years, so.
No,
Yeah.
no. Keep your fingers crossed over this graduation
Yeah.
because of supply chain.
I know, that's why I'm like, make it work, Mike.
We're trying.
We'll see.
This is step one, now it's gonna move from
Yes, we
Michigan
can
on out,
yeah,
right?
and we had always thought that Welser was just no hope because it was so big and antiquated. And I remember him saying, "You all can do something with this." I couldn't figure out if it was because he was hot or because he really believed we could do something with it.
Yeah, this was years ago, right?
I thank you for his thought.
Yes, I was making a comment about us trying to make sure we could get some air in there, and finally here we are getting the air.
Thank you.
PE teachers And kids will be, thank you.
Thank
So will our fans.
Yes.
Yeah.
May we get a roll call, Mr. Hill?
Ms. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Falkenberg?
Aye.
Mrs. Jones?
Aye.
Ms. King?
Aye.
Say it, Ashley, you'll understand when you get it.
I'm surprised I didn't hear it louder, huh? All right, 10.0, we don't have any academic, technology, and innovation items this evening, so let's move on. Yeah, a little bit quiet over there. Let's
Never
go.
quiet, no.
They working.
Under 11.0, student services and strategic partnership, we do have one item, 11.1, but it's an important one, is as part of our plan and our support services for, I believe this is the second half of the school year, so similar, I should say vendors that we've been working with, but again, just doing it in half-year increments. So we're asking the board to approve these agreements for the second half of the 21-22 school year.
May we get a motion to approve item 11.1?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments?
I've been waiting for this, so thank you very much, Ms. Thompson, you in your office. I know you all have been waiting as well. So it was also good to see that when I opened this up, the programs that were there are the same ones that you introduced before, which lets me know that they are successful and that there are success stories behind them. And we've actually seen and heard some of them, so thank you all so much. And parents, if you're watching and you send me emails and I let you know that we have something in place and we have a plan, this is the plan. It's coming.
Thank you as well, Ms. Thompson.
Thank you.
Your office is spread thin. Had a conversation with the resident yesterday about just the nature of business that we do. We are servicing the whole child, and sometimes the whole child is the adults in that child's life, the family, the home, and so forth. So I'm grateful that we are fortunate enough to be able to have you, your vision, and your team.
One of the things I want to mention with this too, they're an awesome team, but we take advantage of money that the state of Ohio, so it's not local tax dollars, actually, it's the state of Ohio, it's a student wellness fund, that we utilize a lot of these, and so we're always looking for other financial alternatives to be able to support these initiatives as well, so.
I will say one last thing is, I've been going through a real estate process and met a realtor yesterday. He actually owns several homes in the city, and he's a resident here himself. And he was saying that he's been working with one of our youth development specialists with assuring that our families who have been displaced or who are possibly looking, and because they're right now with this economy and this real estate market, there isn't a lot out there. So he was actually very surprised. He was like, I've never been approached by another school district to actually help the families within the community. That development specialist was Toya Owens-Hodge, so if you can let her know, thank you, because that meant the world to me. A real estate agent, and we've had this whole thing with the real estate market in South Euclid in the presentations. So for him to actually acknowledge that and to be appreciative, that speaks so much. So thank you so much.
Hearing no other questions or comments, may we get a roll call, Mr. Hill?
Ms. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. King?
Aye.
Ms. Falkenberg?
Aye.
Mrs. Jones?
Aye.
Under 12.0, we are on to exceptional students. 12.1 recommends the Board of Education to consider the revised interdistrict service area contract with the Educational Service Center of Northeast Ohio. Again, this is for services that we need for students with disabilities, and this is for an intervention specialist. Sometimes we contract with our county to help us out there. 12.2 is considered the individual student instruction contract with the Linman Bell learning process to provide virtual services for a student beginning after January 24th, and then it would end on June 3rd, and you have the contract will not exceed $22,000. And then 12.3, probably another contract here, yes, with the agreement with the Mentor Examine Village School Board of Education for the agreement and admission of one student to attend the CARES program there and provide educational service for the remainder of the 21-22 school year. So again, some of our students, when we make our decisions as a team with the parents and the families, sometimes it requires a placement outside of the district. And then 12.4 is recommending the, for approval items 12.1 through 12.
Oh, yeah, they're not doing it this year, but I was,
I'll just pass Stephanie's information, his board information. Thank you, Stephanie. Rush PTSA meeting is January 12th, which is tomorrow at 7 p.m. They do have a Zoom link, so if you go to the website for the district, under Rush High School, I believe that PTA link is there. And concessions are still asking for volunteers. So if you want to make new friends, support student groups and athletic programs, volunteer at concessions. She has the best commercials. So there is a Sign Up Genius link for that as well, and you do not only have to be a parent, you can be a community member, just talk with them. The after prom fashion show planning is still in full effect. Lots of fun and lots to be done in prep for our February 11th event. This is all February 11th so far, as long as CDC works with it. It says if you know a senior male student, have them sign up to model. We need about 10 more guys. So there is a registration link as well. And we are looking for ideas from parents and students. There's a venue update and a budget update. Brush PTSA also has a Facebook page to stay connected. They have a Twitter handle, and their meetings are pretty lively and well on virtual platforms. So we did not make any city council meetings in January, just with the transition and trying to get things together. So I will take on the month of February. So I'm going to just throw someone out there. I did type them out. I was asking Ashley if, I'll let you know the dates when I send out that paper with the dates on there. If you want to accompany me in February, I don't mind.
Okay.
So that way we can introduce you after the meeting. I believe South Euclid is still virtual. I think when Neil tried to do it in December, I sent him to the City Hall building. I felt so bad. He got dressed and drove all the way to City Hall. Then he called and I sent him to the community center. And then they texted me and said, no, it's virtual. I was like, sorry.
So he must have called me after you because I told him to. I said, no, you have to go up there. I'm sorry.
So we will get that rolled out. What that is actually is we try our best to make each city council meeting. Sometimes our schedules do crash and burn, so we can't get there, or sometimes we fall asleep and then we wake up and they're over. So we try to appear at each city council meeting at the beginning of the month to just give a report to city council from the Board of Education. Usually just a small financial update, a student affairs update, some current events, and something new that is happening. I know Neil didn't make it to that December meeting, but we didn't get a chance and we wanted to talk too about the Quick Med Center. So we'll be talking about that at the February meeting at each of the council meetings. So we'll get that rotation. We take 2 months each, the board, and with us not having a presentation in August, and I believe it's in June, maybe it's 2 months I think that we don't go. So it balances out to 2 meetings per board. Other than that,
I would would like to acknowledge all of our athletics at the very present moment, from bowling to swimming to indoor tracks and I was getting there, Catherine, because wasn't that good? I'm excited. So I was excited most, and I know our superintendent is a lover of wrestling as well. But our very own Malik Williams was named ARC Athlete of the Week because on Saturday that day he got his 100th career win as a wrestler. So that is, like, that's amazing. Like, I go to these wrestling matches and, like, to see them in action and for him to have 100 wins, that is phenomenal. And I know Mr. Hall has been trying to rebuild his program, so that's just phenomenal. So thank you to all our athletes. If you all are watching and you can come real quick, we take on, in 30 minutes, we start playing Euclid. Our freshmen just beat them, so hopefully everybody else will too.
Any new and unfinished business? None. Item 13.3, board policy. This is a first reading. The superintendent presents the following policies for first read and preliminary review. Southfield Lyndhurst Board of Education will be asked to vote to adopt these policies at the board meeting being held on February 15th, 2022. They are listed as such. I will save you all the pleasure of reading. But actually, those are, so what'll happen is they'll be listed as first read. We get a chance to read through them. If you have any questions about them. Our policies come in line with Neola. I'm sure you're probably familiar with like a database firm that kind of gives us superseding of policies and then we meet them. And so superintendent's office has the treasurer have the responsibility of.
Right. I think usually what happens is we'll get an update from Neola, and a lot of times it looks like some of the policies are repetitive, like the anti-harassment. But there's actually separate policies sometimes you'll see for our certified and classified staff. So it's a similar policy, but it's geared for a certain classification. Really, I work with my team because, again, you can see some of their, when it has to do with employment, Mr. Miller will look at those policies, and Neola makes its recommendations. And, usually if you see something in green, it's a new recommendation. If it's in red, because the legislation has changed, they're recommending to strike the language. We do have options of being able to have different uniqueness if we want to our policies, and that's when we sit down and we talk. But usually if you know, each one of our directors, the ones that you're seeing sitting across from us, because it's important that they know the changes in the law, and then I meet with them and we go over the policy together. So believe it or not, it's quite a process that we go through, and then we make a recommendation for a first read. But usually by the time it gets to a first read, we've really met and pounded it out before we even make that recommendation.
May we have a motion to approve item 13.4?
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments?
Yeah, I went over those all very carefully and marked, there were just some spellings and things like that. So I'd like to have the opportunity to revise them before we, I mean, nothing changing as far as policy, but
Grammatical stuff.
grammatical
Look into,
spelling.
if you want to look at, it's a very clunky edit process. So sometimes things we are, and we're working with Neola on this. So if you let me know which ones were, we'll have my administrative assistant go in and she'll look to make those corrections. But it is a very, we actually get the template from Neola. So that's the thing we get, and then we make, most of it is already there. So it could possibly be the original template that's actually wrong. So that's the piece, but I'd be happy to take a look at it. I'm not saying that it is, but we actually don't create the template.
Okay.
We work off of the template from Neola and really make sometimes minimal changes. So I'd be curious to see. Absolutely, well, I'll take a look at it.
Okay.
You'll send them over to her, because Lisa is really fast
I
and
have-
good on the spot, so.
I have 2 pages, I don't know if she can read my writing, but.
Okay, well, that's not like,
It's noted too, so when we come back for second reading, we don't have to worry about it. It's not a policy adjustment, it's just noted that possible clerical
Oh, perfect.
spelling
Thank you.
adjustments.
Yep.
Thank you, Pat.
Hearing no further questions and comments, may we get a roll call, Mr. Hill?
Ms. Lee?
Aye.
Ms. Falkenberg? Mrs. Jones?
Aye.
Ms. King?
Aye.
Closing items, 14.1, public comment.
None.
Hearing no public comment being submitted. We have no need for executive session today. And it is now 6:38. May we get a motion to adjourn?